Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil, and I'm joined by Lana Dieterich, Bev of Derelicts. It's very cool to have you here.
Hey, it's good to talk to you, Neil.
Yeah, now I love Derelicts. I got to see it at Buffalo Fantastic Film Festival, and it was my favorite movie of the festival.
Wow.
Really
I have to say I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah. So
I wasn't in it that much, but for what I did, I had a blast.
Yeah, it's very memorable scenes with you.
Yeah, one of those scenes made it so that the original actress cast in the role of Bev decided that she just couldn't go that extra step.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm really the second choice. I never auditioned for it. I didn't know about it, but Udoy sent me an email. I think it was he, or maybe it was Matt, saying that they had heard through the grapevine that I might be interested in this part. And we met for coffee and just started talking about it. And then they sent me samples of things that Brett and the rest of them had done, I think, in film school. And it was so sick and twisted. I just had to say yes.
So how did he know you then? Was it true that you were interested in it, or?
Well, I simply didn't know about it. It was, I guess, it was out there, on the website that where you go if you're looking to audition for films that are starting to film across the state. I just generally rely on my agent to call me and let me know if there's something that I might be interested in. But she was unaware of this film. It was under her radar. So they just contacted me because they had heard that I was probably around the right age, and that I did a lot of theater, and that I simply might be interested. They really didn't know.
So you said you watched, their shorts and stuff, and you said it was really sick, and so you had to do it.
Yes.
So are you into horror movies and weird films like that?
Well, turns out I am. I have always loved the horror genre. I can't say that I'm a big slasher fan or, unnecessary cruelty. But, if it's handled right, it can be funny. And I think that happens in Derelicts for sure.
Definitely.
The little shorts that I saw that Brett and the other guys did, they were like that too. That they are slightly crossing a line, A lot of people would say, oh, they so cross that line. But to me, they do it in a way that, okay, I can stand that, but I probably can't stand much more than that. Kind of feeling.
I think there's like you said, it's fun. There's a fun feeling to it. It's not mean spirited.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And you have a feeling that these people, they are such a family of assholes that they kind of deserve it.
Yeah. As you watch a movie, you've kind of grown to dislike the family because you see all the different things they do, and then later in the movie you start to get some sympathy for the Derelicts, which I think is well done.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you first met Brett, what did you think of him, and what was he like to work with as a director?
That's what was so funny. Meeting these guys before I really knew anything about them. We met at a little coffee shop in a strip mall, and just sat down. They were very deferential. They were these kids. They could have been my grandchildren, and they're just as sweet and polite as they could possibly be. And then I get to see what they're up to. And it's like the difference between night and day. I would never have guessed that these sweet boys would be up to all of the bloodshed and mayhem that you see on screen.
Yeah, it's always the quiet ones, they say. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's the quiet ones you've got to watch out for. Mm-hmm. And then I heard about the woman that decided she couldn't put up with that, and that they were going to see if I'd be interested. And I became doubly interested. That there was something that they were doing that made a fellow actor decide that she didn't want any part of it.
Uh-huh. So, not to spoil the movie, but yeah. Go on, sorry.
What's that?
I would say not to spoil the movie, but for people who don't know, there's because it opens the movie pretty much. There's a sex scene with you and Frank.
That's right. And the day that I went to set, the day that I knew that we would be filming that scene, I had no idea what they had in mind, how they were going to shoot it. They shot it from the ceiling, as it turned out, but I, of course, didn't even imagine that happening. I thought it would be more close up and intimate. I went to the set thinking they may ask me if I'm willing to do it without any clothes on at all. Mm-hmm. And I thought, okay, am I up for that? And I thought, sure, I'll do it. But they didn't. Matt, he came and talked to me. He says, there will be no extra people on the set today, and we want you to be as comfortable as possible. And I was already in a nightgown, and I said, well, do you want me to take any of this off? And he said, no, that's not necessary at all. But we'll just go in and we'll just kind of talk through it. So I go in, and Steve, my boyfriend in the movie, he's already in bed. And so I go and get in bed with him, and then I see that the camera's on the screen. Oh, and I also told Matt, I said, I think that I would prefer the missionary position. Mm-hmm. And he goes, okay. It's like he was very embarrassed to be talking about these things to me, but it was so sweet. So anyway, I see that the camera's on the bed, and I turn to Steve and I say, oh, we can't be doing the missionary position, because we're going to be blocking each other. Yeah. I said, I think you're going to have to take me from behind. And he was very game. He said, sure. Yeah, let's do it.
So,
it was so much fun.
Before you actually film it, did you and Steve talk about it at all?
No, I had not even met Steve. In fact, he wasn't even there for the first read-through. Uh-huh. So I didn't meet him until we were, in the thick of it. He probably had been on set longer than I had. Mm-hmm. I'm guessing. But we met, and we hit it off. I'll tell you, being in that house, I don't know if anybody else has talked to you about that, but it was in the height of summer, mm-hmm. and they could not have the AC on all the time because they had to keep turning it off for when they were doing the actual filming. So they basically left it off. All of the people who were not involved in the actual filming were all upstairs. And so it was hotter than the hinges of hell up there. And we were all running around in our underwear. just to be comfortable. Uh-huh. And the dress that I wore, just a gorgeous, gorgeous dress, completely beaded. I think it still had a price tag on it, something like $600 or $700. It was a beautiful dress. And they had to completely cut it, and cover it with blood. And
yeah, I almost asked if you kept it, but right, they did.
It was so sad when that happened. But anyway, we were just sitting there in the bedroom in our underwear, basically. Steve and I working crosswords, and we just got to know each other really well and felt very comfortable with one another.
Mm-hmm. And then you became his girl. That's my girl.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And the first time that we were down there shooting, it was just as hot as it can be, and I'm down on the floor trying to put together something that had broken. It had dropped, and so I just got down on all fours and started putting it together. I mean, I was watching the sweat drip off my face.
Wow.
But I asked Brett, "Is that Reed? Can you tell that I'm sweating bullets over here?" And he says, "No, you look great."
Yeah. That's something I didn't think about, because people did mention it being hot, but I didn't think about if that would interfere with the filming, if you could see the beads of sweat on people, or if they're sweat through their clothes or anything. Yeah.
I would have thought that they'd have makeup right there to throw powder on you after each take, but it was not discernible on film, I guess.
Yeah, or even with the Derelicts, because they all have a lot of makeup to make them look dirty, and like wounds on their face and stuff. I'm surprised that didn't like wash off, from the sweat.
Oh, right. Yeah. Interesting observation.
Yeah. So a lot. Well, besides in the bedroom, a lot of your scenes are at the table,
exactly.
Which a lot of the movies at. So which kind of gives it like a play-like feel, with like an ensemble cast and everyone interacting at the table.
And in the interesting thing was that we got our wires crossed on my film days, and I didn't realize that I had this one full film day, which was at the table, and I had already had scheduled a play reading that I had to do, and I apologized profusely, and I said I'll work doubly hard as soon as I get here, but they went ahead and filmed around me until I got there. And then they just plugged in all of my stuff. They made it so easy for me. It was really, really nice to work with these guys. They were so professional that they were able to knock out that table scene with me in just the afternoon portion of the day. I was gone the whole morning, but in the afternoon, they plugged me in, and it looks great. I really had a good time on that day. Those other people spent so much more time around that table than I did, because I'm the first one to get killed.
Yeah. Unfortunately, but,
I did have a very good time.
Mm-hmm. So when you first see the finished film, what did you think of it?
Well, I thought that it really looked good. I mean, I already knew the story, and so just seeing it put into action was very pleasurable. I wasn't all that crazy with one of my close-ups. But that was my fault. But everything else looked awesome. Those Derelicts, they were something else. I hardly interacted with them at all, but they're the majority of the film is all about them. So I was very elated to see what a great job they all did. Say that how impressed I was with everybody. The director, Brett, and then the guy that filmed the whole thing. He was incredible. My death scenes in the vestibule of that house. He was sitting in the bathroom. There was one of those tiny guest bathrooms just off the vestibule portion of the house. And he and his camera and another guy just crowded into that bathroom to film everything that I did. And they used a little mirror that was on the wall to get some of it. I was so impressed with how they did it. And they had me just covered in blood and sliding down that wall with my bloody hands. And then they would say, cut. Some guy would come in with a spray bottle, spray down the wall, wipe it clean, put more blood on my hands, and shoot it again.
Have you ever done that in a movie before? Been killed or had a lot of blood on you?
Oh no.
Yeah.
It was at the same time both satisfying and appalling, because I knew how it was going to look, but it just felt awful. All of the stickiness of whatever it was that they made the blood out of, and just being everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest heartache was seeing the huge hole that they cut in the middle of of that beautiful dress. I was wearing a foundation garment. It was like it went up to just under my boobs to keep my stomach flat as as I could get it. That thing was so stained with that red blood concoction. Oh, excuse me, that I was never able to get it clean, but I hang on to that piece of apparel because it brings back such terrific memories.
Yeah. And you do pop up again later in the movie.
Yes, I do. I was so glad that they zombified me, and I get to return.
It's a very cool scene. I like that whole part because you're not sure if the Constance character has like some supernatural elements or if it's all in her head, but kind of leaves it up for the audience, which I like. I
know, and I'll tell you, I went to one screening at a film festival in Phoenix. I had friends out there, and I thought, none of the other guys are going to be able to make it. I'll be there. I'll be there just for that screening. It was a midnight screening, and there weren't that many people in the audience. But I'm telling you, they all stayed. There was nobody to talk to about it. I preferred to remain as anonymous as I could. I didn't want to get down there in front of the screen and answer questions and everything. But they all were talking amongst themselves about what the whole thing meant, how that tied in with the very beginning of the movie and the dream-like quality and everything. And I'm going, oh my God, I didn't even notice any of that. But they were fascinated by that.
Yeah. What's that experience like to what? I was just saying, what's that experience like to be to watch yourself on the big screen with an audience?
Well, I do. Again, I always have mixed emotions. Seeing it for the first time, and with audience members who may or may not know that's me. That's why I was there. There's a couple of close-ups that I didn't like. I didn't like the expression that I had on my face. But other than that, I really liked it. I got into it, and I loved hearing the laughter that I may have inspired. That's a very good feeling. So I will always go. I won't always invite my friends because again, I'm not sure how they're going to take whatever it is that I'm doing. Also, there's also the danger of being cut. Scenes that you were in that the director decides, we don't need all of that. Let's cut that. The first movie I was ever in back in the 90s. They cut all of the scene where I had my lines. It was a Disney movie, And so it was very exciting because it was a big deal here in Austin. And I had one scene where it's a bunch of people. We're at a party, and we're having a little conversation like you do at cocktail parties. And that was the extent of my lines. I spent the whole night on set for that movie. And I was so excited, and my whole family went to see it. And I'll be damned if that scene, the whole scene, was completely cut. It would talk about a blow.
Yeah.
I learned then that you don't want to go inviting a whole bunch of people if you're going to be left on the cutting room floor.
Yeah. Do you ever get used to that? Because I would assume it's always frustrating, but
it's always frustrating. No. I mean, I haven't done that many films to really develop a callous over my feelings about that. I take it personally,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I absolutely understood why they cut that scene from the party in that first movie that I did. It was because it was a frenetic pace. They had made it, like a chase feeling. That there were people that were looking for other people, and so it sped up the whole time sequence of the party, and there was not time to slow down and have a little cocktail party conversation between four people. So I absolutely understood it, but I still hated it.
Sure.
With no more.
I don't blame you. So, what is your you still get residuals
for that film?
All right. Well, that's good anyway. So, what is your background in acting? How did you get into acting? And did you do like stage acting or just
in film? That's how I started out. I grew up in Pennsylvania and went to a parochial school, and so I was an angel in the Christmas play in the first grade, that kind of thing. And then as I got older, there was a speech class. We didn't even have a drama department. It was that tiny of a school. And so the closest that I could get was the speech class, which my friend and I kind of finagled our way into. We were freshmen sitting in the back of this class in a study hall, and we asked the nun if we could be part of it because it was so fascinating. And the day came when I came to class, and the nun said that the yearly play that the speech class put on, that they hit a snag because the girl that was playing the lead got sick. And would there be anybody interested in taking that part? I couldn't get my hand in the air fast enough because, man, this was a play. It was short, but it was so juicy. I got to play an old lady, character role, who dies at the end. Talk about the perfect role. You get to die on stage. Come on. So once that happened, man, there was no turning back. And so I did. I took part in the forensics, which was public performance of monologues and things. And when I got into college, I wanted to be in every play. But it wasn't until much later that I finally got involved in film. Like I said, in the 90s, I was in my 40s then.
Do you have a preference between the two?
They're so different. There are things that I love about each one. In theater, you have the immediate gratification and kind of a relationship with the audience. You get a give and take. You sense they're being there, especially in a comedy where they're laughing at your lines and everything, so you get immediate gratification. But and the other thing is that it's ephemeral. You do it, and then it's over. And there's something special about that. You know, you have this experience. It lasts only a little while, and then it's done and gone. And and it cannot be duplicated, because every single performance is different. Every single audience that's there is different. But with film, it's the exact opposite. You're there for a very long time, with very little feedback, if anything. You get a little bit of applause when the day that you wrap. And everybody says, right. Okay, yeah, let's hear it for Lana. This is her last day, you know, and then you get that ripple of applause. And then you have to wait for it all to be done, and then you see the results up there. And it's permanent. It's there forever. Right. It can be seen again and again. So there's something to be said about each one, and they're completely different. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting, because even like the little, you said the one thing you didn't like about Derelicts was like a close-up of you. If that was a play, you could do that differently the next night.
That's right. You said it, Bob.
Interesting. So, by the way, where because my mother and my grandparents on that side are from Pennsylvania originally. I think they're in Chambersburg.
Oh, well, Pennsylvania is a big state. I'm from northwestern Pennsylvania, in a little town called Meadville, which was 40 miles south of Erie. And when I was a kid, we would drive up to Lake Erie and swim in Lake Erie. It's before it got polluted in the 70s.
Yeah. When I was
Go ahead.
I was saying, when I was real young, we used to go up there and visit my great-grandparents every year. So, but I don't remember too much about it. I remember getting Lebanon bologna and some kind of cheese, because my great uncle had a like a butcher shop. So, and I remember something about they would trade with the Mennonites, like meats for like produce, vegetables, or fruits or something.
So where in the state is that town?
I'm not really sure, to be honest.
It sounds like it might be in the southeastern part, where more Mennonites are. Where I was, the local sect were the Amish, and my aunt lived in an area. It was very rural, and we would sit on her front porch and watch the buggies go up and down.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty cool. I remember a lot of hills wherever it was, when you're driving. All the roads were big hills up and down.
Wow.
It was nice. I haven't been there for years.
Yeah, I haven't been back to visit for a long time. My aunts and uncles are dying off, and I went back a couple of years ago just to see them before they're all gone. But I would love to go back again and just kind of drive around and look at where I used to live. It's so different, so changed.
So, and I actually, and I've been asking a lot of people this, because I like food. So, where's the best barbecue in Texas?
You know, you're asking the wrong person. Whenever I have lived in a certain spot in the country, I have never enjoyed the
local food,
the local cuisine. It's terrible. When I was still in high school, we moved from Pennsylvania to Kentucky, and the big thing there was something they called hot browns.
I was in Kentucky it was last year, and my friend lives there, and I had the hot brown. He said, you have to get the hot brown because it's like this local thing. So I got it. Yeah.
Did you like it?
I mean, it wouldn't be something I'd eat all the time, but it was for one time.
God, it was disgusting, and not only that, they really got into something they called country ham.
Okay, I didn't that.
It's ham that has, to me, has been cured, but then has been left out way too long. It tastes like it's rotten. That's what it tastes like. But it's a delicacy with those Kentuckians.
Uh-huh.
And then I moved to Louisiana to do graduate school.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my God, they've got this thing called a crawfish boil, where you put all of these newspapers on a picnic table and then dump out something that's been boiling in this big pot. And there's crawfish and potatoes and carrots, and they're all in there together. It's just disgusting. And the first time I ever went to one, all I would do is eat the potatoes, because I was not about to eat those things that we used to catch in the creek in Pennsylvania and play with.
Right.
We never thought about eating them.
I've never been to Louisiana, but I've had crawfishes a few times, and I always heard they're great, but I've never liked them either. I always think they kind of taste like mud. But
yeah, aren't they called mud bugs?
I think they are. Yeah.
That's why. Amazing. Right. So anyway, in Texas, I've never enjoyed any of the barbecue.
Okay.
It's terrible, and I'm not a huge Tex-Mex fan either. I will drink a margarita. That's about it.
Well, I went on the Bourbon Trail when I was in Kentucky. That was a good time.
Oh, yeah. That used to be my drink of choice.
Yeah, bourbon's really good.
They made a wild turkey real close to where my dad went to work in Lawrenceburg, and yeah, we enjoyed that, just like on the rocks.
Yeah, I agree.
Now I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to drink too much anymore. But we did go to the Wild Turkey Distillery. That was a good time.
Oh, did you in a tour?
Yeah. We hit all of them, and if you hit, I think there was 12 of the major ones on the tour, on the trail. Then they stamp your it's like a little booklet, and they stamp each one, and then if you get all of them, you get a free T-shirt. So.
Well, by then you're probably drunk and you don't even know what you're getting.
Yeah, it is weird because you have to drive to each one, so
right.
It almost promotes
that's so wrong.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, it was a good time though.
Sure.
Yeah. The one of them I can't remember. I think it was Evan Williams. They actually took you down into an old speakeasy. It was an actual speakeasy, from 20s. Whatever. That was a really fun one. And then they give you all, fun. Yeah, and they all give you this little. It was just a little shock because it was like a $600 bottle of bourbon because it's like 50 years old. But it was still pretty cool to have a little bit of it. Yeah, it tasted very good.
Were you able to discern the difference in taste?
Yeah, and that one actually it could. Some of them not so much, but yeah, that one.
Did it taste smoother, or what was the?
Yeah, it tasted smooth. It had more like what you consider like the bourbon taste. You know what I mean? From aging so long in the barrels.
Yeah. Sweet. I'm gonna have to look into that next time I go up there.
Yeah, it was fun. So I saw that you're working with David Lee Hess, who's also in Derelicts.
That maniac. Yeah. He comes up to me. I think it may have been my last day, and he said, "I'm hoping that I can get in touch with you because I'm going to be working on a project soon." And so got really excited about that. Have you seen his little film called Fetish?
Actually, I was just sent it before this interview, so I'm going to watch it right after I talk to you.
Yeah, so he gave me a little part in that. That's another little sick movie.
I'm looking forward to seeing it.
And yeah, it was that again, just a pleasure working with him. Mm-hmm. He's so funny and so fun. It's a short film, so He's screened it in a bunch of festivals already.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Her when I talked to Kelly, because she's in it, and she told me about it. So I haven't talked to David yet. But.
I think she was one of the producers on it too.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Yeah, that's very cool. So it seems like short films have really grown in popularity, I think, over the last few years. I think a lot of it's because they're more accessible with like YouTube and streaming sites, and also people go see them at festivals.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And it seems like the more you go to film festivals, the more you see all of the short films that are there, like a smorgasbord for you.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to all these different venues and see just a ton of them. I think that's another reason that there's so many more short films that a film festival will accept than a feature. They can only have a certain number of feature-length films, but they can do a whole bunch of the short ones.
Yeah, that is nice too, because then you can see what a bunch of different people can make, and also if one's not very good, it's going to be over soon. You can watch another one.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. And I had a pass to the Austin Film Festival this past fall, and one of my films was screened in it, and that's mainly why I got the pass. But my agent asked me if I wanted to be involved in any kind of readings that I guess they have little sessions for the badge holders to attend that have to do with screenwriting. There's an emphasis on writing for the Austin Film Festival that I guess the other festivals don't really share. But I said, sure, sign me up. I wish, looking back, if I had known that my signing up for that would eliminate one whole day of my seeing other films, I probably wouldn't have done it. But on the other hand, I did have a very good time, and it turned out that I was reading an episode of a podcast.
Oh, really?
I think that's another thing that's happening with actors these days. It isn't just getting cast in films, but it's getting cast in podcasts. There seems to be a big interest in podcasts these days. You've been at it for more than 10 years, I guess. I think I read, right?
Yeah, 2005 when I did my first podcast, 2006 when I started Without Your Head. And at that time, in 2005, there wasn't even the term podcast. People were calling it like internet radio. And it is weird over the years, because I remember when he started, a lot of people, they would say, oh, this is the internet. I only do the show if it's actual radio. And I think that's like reversed now, because there's more potential for it to be heard on a podcast than like if you did a local radio show.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right. It's like there are podcasts that are out there that are listened to by people across the country.
Yeah, across the world. I mean, I have people listen to the show in Australia and Germany, and it is pretty wild, to think about.
And you're out of Massachusetts?
Yeah, Massachusetts. Yep.
The podcast that I was reading for, that this was for the second season of the podcast that was done out of New York City.
Mm-hmm. And is it like a? I'm sorry to interrupt you. So is it like a radio play kind of thing?
Yeah, it's like a continuing story.
Mm-hmm.
It's called It Makes a Sound. Does it ring any bells to you?
No, but it's interesting because I do like to listen to like the old like radio plays from like the 40s and stuff. A lot of stuff like Boris Karloff and Vincent Price, and so it's kind of cool that they're kind of that they made a comeback in a different medium.
Well, there's something similar to the podcast Serial. That's the only one that I ever really got involved with, and I love that. You know, that soft voice kind of telling you a story.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that, but there are other characters that come in, and this woman, she's telling a story from her own life, but then expanded through her imagination. She wanted to write something about music, and she knew so little about music that she would go back in her life to when she knew the most about music, which was in the 90s, during the punk rock era, and she hired a woman, a voice for her podcast, the first season of it, that was a punk rocker, but she made this woman be in a nursing home with Alzheimer's now, because I think her grandmother is like that. So she blends her life and then adds different elements to make it interesting. And she had me reading the part of the woman that was the punk rocker.
Interesting.
They were looking for somebody to back the new season, the second season, and so we read the third episode in the second season to a bunch of people at the Driscoll, just assembled there for the film festival, and it was very, very fun and satisfying.
Yeah,
and
that sounds cool.
I'm hoping that's something that I get to do more.
Yeah, that sounds like something I'd like to listen to. So I'll search it out and check it out.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to be listening to you guys.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I actually, do you know who Joe Bob Briggs is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had him on the show a few weeks ago. It was right before Thanksgiving, and I suggested he sees Derelicts because he was doing the Thanksgiving movie marathon, and I think he only had like 4 movies that were sort of Thanksgiving themed, and I told him he should see Derelicts because I think it's the best Thanksgiving horror movie, and there aren't that many Thanksgiving horror movies out there.
No, I don't. I can't think of another one.
No, there's the one I know is Thanksgiving, and it's not particularly good. That's a great name.
One. Okay.
It's about a killer turkey, but yeah.
Good title.
Yeah. And Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, not a horror movie, but that's a great Thanksgiving movie. Besides that, there's not very many. So, are you working on anything currently?
No, I am not. I'll probably be doing a play in the theater where I'm a company member at the end of the next spring. But other than that, nothing on the horizon. It's pretty sad, in Texas. Abbott, our governor, has eliminated any film incentives for people to come and film in Texas. Yeah. And anymore, the only thing that my agent sends me on for auditions is to the self-tape person, so that they can film me doing an audition of something that's going to be shot in Atlanta or Albuquerque. It's a sad state of affairs here in Texas.
Yeah, that's too bad to hear. I know it doesn't make a lot of sense either, because you think that helps out the state if you film movies there.
Of course it does. Of course it does. But it has something to do with the arts, which
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the conservatives they're allergic to that.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
I live in a pretty liberal place. So
yes, you do. You're lucky.
Yeah. I did like it. Texas. I don't know if you know where Cape Cod is, but I'm on the Cape.
Oh yeah! Wow.
But I go up to Boston a lot. Boston's there's not too much to do here. It's a nice area, but a lot of cool things up in Boston.
Sure, there sure are.
There's a lot of nice theaters up there too, that show like older movies or art house movies, and it's cool to watch movies on your computer or TV, but to me, it's nothing like watching a movie on the big screen.
Yes, it's incredible the difference between the small screen and the big screen. You can catch nuances and things on the big screen that you didn't even realize. Mm-hmm. I have to agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah, there's a lot of things about it. I think one thing too is you can't escape it. It's right there in front of you, so you're not going to be looking on your computer for something or playing with your phone. And
right, it's also, or pausing it to go to the bathroom.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's especially like older movies. That's how they were meant to be seen. So it's a totally different experience.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. I had a lot of fun.
Well, I'm so happy to have been able to talk to you too, Neil. And I am going to be investigating this podcast of yours. I look forward to it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And, I hope you enjoy it. Let me know. If you don't like it, just pretend.
I won't say anything if I didn't like it. When is it going to be broadcast?
This particular episode, I'm waiting until I record everybody, and then I was going to put them all together, but it might be way too long. So I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with it once I get everyone finished.
Maybe
I think it'll probably be the end of the week.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
I think so.
Well, excellent. I hope that you have a wonderful Christmas, and here's to an excellent 2019.
Thank you, and you the same.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.